and welcome to In the Garden with Flower Hill Farm, a podcast brought to you by Botanical Interests. I'm your host, Nicole Pitt. Today we are chatting about food preservation. Coming up, we will be joined by two ladies well-versed in saving what they grow, Jordyn and Kay from Portage View Farm. Now, food in its very nature begins to deteriorate the moment it is harvested. Food preservation, therefore, has permeated every culture at nearly every moment in time. And it was, of course, climate dependent. In cold climates, they would put meat on ice, and in the tropical climates, food was dried in the sun. In the Middle Ages, houses were actually built just to dry food. Our very survival depended on it. Of course, modern food preservation is quite different. We have grocery stores now, food on demand, so it's no longer a matter of necessity, but a choice to preserve your own food. For many, it's a tradition handed down through generations. I have many memories watching my grandfather in the kitchen, pickling eggs or making dry Italian sausage that he stored in jars in oil on the counter. I also remember trays of tomatoes drying in the sun on the back deck in the summertime. There are so many different methods of food preservation. We have drying, freezing, pickling, fermenting, canning, and the newest at-home craze, freeze drying. Today, more and more people, young and old, are returning to their roots, wanting to know more about where their food comes from, whether they're growing and preserving their own food from the garden, or shopping small local farms and putting their canners to good use. Some of my favorite things to preserve. I already told you guys this. I love to make ketchup, but I also make and can tomato puree to use in making my own homemade sauce, my grandmother's recipe, of course, or chili during the winter. I really despise the taste of canned sauce from the grocery store. It has a really sugary taste to me. I love homemade, hands down. Now, just in December, I used a combination of homegrown strawberries and blueberries that I had in the freezer, and I combined them with some store-bought cranberries to make a delicious holiday jam. I made 18 half pints, and I passed them out for the holidays. Now, I also can beans, corn, beets. I make salsa, pizza sauce, and so much more. This year, I experimented with freezing a homemade creamed corn, and it turned out so much better than the can from the store. Now, I did purchase a freeze dryer last year. It's a big financial commitment. I haven't had much time to use it, but I have done a few things. I freeze dried several dozen eggs for those winter months when the ladies stop laying. You know, if you have chickens, they just sometimes stop in the wintertime. What else did I do? Let's see. I did blueberries, bananas. Those were a favorite. Raspberries, and I even did mushrooms. I can't tell you how amazing it is to rehydrate mushrooms on demand that are shelf stable. Now, store-bought mushrooms, while delicious, they have such a short shelf life in the fridge. You know, when they get slimy when you open them up, I was tired of throwing them out and wasting money, and I found freeze drying them immediately at their peak freshness was amazing. Now, my canning pantry is nothing compared to the root cellar of my guests coming up. I cannot wait to chat with them. They are all about education, self-sufficiency, and have such helpful tips that lead to success, even for the beginner gardener. That's coming up. First, though, our seed of the day. And today, I actually have a few of them, but they're all the same variety. It's called green beans, guys. I chose this today because beans are one of the easiest crops to grow, especially for a beginner gardener, as long as you keep them away from the pesky deer. In fact, it was the deer eating my green beans and my sugar snap peas that led for me putting up an 8-foot fence around my garden. Now, beans are also one of the easiest things to can. It's a very popular item to preserve for home gardeners. I'm sure many of you have memories of sitting outside and snapping beans with loved ones. Now, the first two varieties I'm going to talk about are similar yet different, but they are both known for being some of the best beans for canning or freezing. You have provider beans, and then you have blue lake beans. Now, green beans are actually native to the Americas, specifically growing wild in South America near the Andes. And they were domesticated about 8,000 years ago. Then the beans traveled north, eventually making it to North America and the Native Americans. It wasn't until the late 1800s, in fact, I think 1890s, that farmers began to breed the bean to develop the stringless varieties that are popular today. Now, what makes Provider or Blue Lake beans superior when it comes to preserving? Well, they both have meaty, flavorful pods that maintain their texture during the preservation process. You know, you have to boil the beans if you're not freezing them when you're canning, and their texture maintains throughout. Now, the plants themselves also offer a higher yield, more bang for your buck, or more beans for your belly. Now there are more than 500 varieties of beans in many different colors. They also help fix the soil by adding nitrogen. It sounds like you can't go wrong growing these green goddesses. Another bean I need to mention, the French fillet bush bean, one of my absolute favorite things that I ate as a kid. Now, they're French filleted beans straight out of the can with Italian dressing. It was one of my favorite side dishes. I totally forgot about these until I was researching for this episode, and I stumbled upon them on the Botanical Interests website. I'm inspired now to grow them for the first time in 2026 to maybe relive my childhood a little bit. Coming up in the garden, we will be joined by Jordyn and Kay of Portage View Farm to talk all about gardening and food preservation. So much to talk about. Stay with us. Welcome back to In the Garden with Flower Hill Farm. I am thrilled to announce my guests for today's episode. Yes, guests, plural, twice the fun. We have mother and daughter-in-law duo, Jordyn and Kay from Portage View Farm. Welcome, and thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
We're excited to be here.
I've been watching you guys for quite a few years, and I can tell you right now that you are so much fun to watch. You have made what you guys are doing in Washington State, right? You guys have made it so fun and educational that I can't wait for your videos. They're awesome. So tell me, you're in Washington. Describe your growing space for us.
Well, our growing space is, not huge. We have a nice little raised growing space for our garden, but a lot of people think you have this huge, acreage, but we live on, probably 10 acres total with all of our properties, but our growing space is, not very,
Just a little
plot, and we garden there. And Washington State is a great place to garden because we have really the perfect growing conditions, in my opinion, and we don't have a lot of bug pressure.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. I have so much bug pressure in upstate New York, but I see a lot of raised beds in your videos. Is that where you primarily grow?
Yes, we primarily grow in a raised bed and in a greenhouse.
Yeah.
Nice. So tell us, how long have each of you been gardening? Is this a lifelong adventure for you guys, or were you brought in later?
Well, I've been gardening forever. I grew up gardening with my mom. My mom always had a big garden and preserved, and I learned everything from her. And then Jordyn came along, and she started gardening a little bit with me, and
Barely.
but I make her saying, "Don't you buy this at the grocery store because I have this in the garden."
I was so afraid of the garden. Like, I would go to the grocery store because I didn't want to ruin it or cut a tomato. I had no idea what I was doing. And I was scared of it. I was so scared. But once we started doing social media, I was like, oh, I guess I should probably learn this.
Yeah, talk about that evolution once you guys started making videos.
Yeah. So when we actually first started our Instagram page, our intention was to sell chicken processing, like chicken tractors and processing tables, and just kind of show the homestead life. So we did a lot of the goats and the chickens. And then it was all during 2020. So we just would dabble in the garden, but I didn't know anything. And so I didn't want to post garden stuff because I had no idea what I was talking about. But then people were like, no, we want this. And so I'm like, okay, I have to learn it. And so I got out there.
She did.
I read a lot of stuff too. I did a lot of research for our content. And I asked her questions all the time. Just to what are we doing? Why are we doing this? Why does this happen? What do we do to just anything and everything? And I just kind of learned, and then creating the content helped me learn more. And now gardening is the main page.
Yeah, and you've turned that into a way to help others too. Tell us about what you teach other gardeners.
Yeah, so I have come to the conclusion that, well, Kay has all this knowledge and I have nothing. And so I'm like, okay, so I need to pull that from her and I need to make it simple. So basically, I understand it if she was not here or I moved away and wanted to garden. I needed to have all that information simplified. And then just in creating content, I realized also so many people didn't have these basic gardening skills. I call them like the basic gardening foundation skills, because I realized anytime someone would have questions or problems, I'm like, well, it's because they don't understand these basic principles. So we just made it our mission to be like, okay, we need to teach these basic foundations, because once you know those, gardening becomes so much easier.
Yeah, and choosing what to grow too can be overwhelming. And I remember in one of your videos that you advised people to grow what they would eat. Tell us more about that advice.
Well,
Yeah.
so I like to start out, we always start out with lettuce, and I always plant too much lettuce, and we have way too much lettuce. And so it's just really important that you're going to plant what you can keep up with. Otherwise, you're going to have to start giving it away to neighbors and the food bank. And so we just say, what you like, then grow that. Start with that first. If you love salads, then grow some lettuce.
Yeah. People get so excited and want to do everything, but that's where the overwhelm comes in, where if you just scale back and be like, okay, I actually eat lettuce, I like carrots, and I like beans. Like, that is a great place to start if you don't know what you're doing, or you are super busy and it's not part of your lifestyle yet. And so we're trying to take the overwhelm away from it and just focus on what you do and what you utilize.
Yeah, exactly. And if you have a small space, a little theme garden.
Yeah.
I love that. So today's episode is all about preserving food from the garden. Now, the first time I saw your pantry, like your walk-in pantry space, my jaw dropped. Now, how many mouths are you feeding, first of all? Because I know you guys have a big family.
Yes. So there's 6 in mine, her and her husband, and then her daughter also lives here, and there's 5 of them. So how many is that? 6, 5,
Yeah,
2, 13?
3 families and 7 kids.
Wow. Have you ever counted, like, to see how, like, the most number of jars that you've had on the shelves?
Nuh-uh.
Well, we do count how many we do. Like, when we did peaches today, and we've got 27 quarts, or something like that.
Yeah.
So we
never have a running tally.
Yeah, we never have a running tally.
A lot. That's the answer. It's a lot. Okay, so let's dive into the food preserving part. What methods do you guys use, and what vegetables or what fruits or whatever you guys are preserving? Talk about what methods you use.
So once again, we're going to only preserve what we like to eat and what preserves well. So things that we love are green beans. Taylor likes beets. She doesn't like beets. I like beets.
Pickles,
salsa, peaches, pears, applesauce.
Yes.
Broth.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly, there's not that many items.
Yeah.
Like, there's not that much variety.
Jams and jellies. Yeah. Tomatoes.
Are you guys canning most of these?
Yes, we're
Those
canning
are all cans.
Yeah, we're canning all of these. And the good way to manage how many you're going to do is, if you figure you're going to eat 1 jar a week, then you need 52 jars. But you can get away with less, because we're not eating like those peaches and pears in the summer, because we try to eat in season also. We try to seasonably eat. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's how I do too. Like, I make sure I have enough beans in the basement to get me to the next July. And then I can eat them fresh out of the garden and then do another batch for the next 8 months or whatever. Yes. Now, I think, Jordyn, I might be wrong here, but I think I remember at some point seeing you use a steam canner. Now, what's the difference between like a steam canner and a regular canner?
That's a great question.
Yeah, that is a great question.
The steam canner is just canning your water bathed goods by steam. And so it allows you to not waste as much water because you're just using steam. but it can be done. It's just another form of preservation.
Heats up faster.
Yes, but it's just for anything that can be water bath, technically 45 minutes or less time for processing time, but we actually recommend 30 minutes because we have so many new canners that we're like, to be safe, 30 minutes or less.
Yeah. That I was going to mention that too. Food safety obviously is important when you talk about food preservation. Now, I mean, everyone talks about botulism. This is something that obviously comes up, but it's extremely rare, but it's still dangerous. Now, how can people make sure that they're processing things correctly?
Go ahead.
Well, they need to follow the recipe for one thing. Just don't, start making things up because there is a science to it. So you want to at least find a recipe that's similar. You can always add a few different things, but the amounts, kind of need to be the same. Like if you're making, like, let's say a rotel, like you want to make a dupe rotel or something like that, there's lots of recipes for that, in the canning books. And so you wouldn't want to say, well, I like lots of onions, so throw extra onion in there because that's going to throw off maybe your processing time.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
just what you want to follow the recipe as closely.
A recipe from an approved canning book.
Yeah.
Google's not always accurate. Like it needs to have the science behind it to be safe. And there's a lot of rebel canners out there that are like, no, it's fine. We don't do that, and we don't recommend it either.
I agree. I always cringe a little bit when I see the comments saying I'm still alive. I'm like, oh,
I know. Like, thankfully.
Yes. So are there any recipes that you guys tried that were fantastic and you make every year for canning?
Yeah. So our whole Fallout shelter is full of only recipes that we love and use. Sometimes we will try new ones. So we have the best salsa recipe. Like, it is so good. It's chunky. It's just zesty. You can make it spicy or mild, depending on your preference.
Fresh tasting.
It's so good. But it processes for like 90 minutes. Is it 90 or 60?
It was 60 for a pint.
Okay, so 60 minutes. So it's kind of a long time. So we found another one that was 25 minutes, and we're like, okay, well, we're going to do it because the time commitment's better. And it wasn't that good. So we're back to our regular 60 minutes.
I think I saw that recipe available on your website. I might have to go try it out for next year. Now so we have the steam canner, we've got the regular like water bath canner, and then there's the pressure canner. For someone who's never canned before, what is the importance of a pressure canner?
Well, to learn to use it, and you can always do a test batch with water. You can put some water in some jars, and you can go through and learn how to use that canner. There's different canners out there. There's, the Presto, which is a gauge. And so that's usually what we recommend for beginners because it's easy. You can just read the gauge, bring it up to pressure and then time it. And then you've got that All-American that's got the rocker, it's got a gauge, but it also has that rocker. And so you kind of have to know how to time that rocker with time and with time.
Yeah, with time.
Yeah. It can be really intimidating the first couple times that you use it. Yeah. And is it the acidity level? Is that what makes something require a pressure? So what needs to be pressure canned versus water bath?
So it's the low acid foods need to be pressure canned.
So anything vegetable
mostly, and meat.
And meat.
Yeah, those need to be canned. Yeah, you don't get to just decide. But the nice thing is a lot of people are like, well, I don't know which is which, but the recipe you follow will tell you what to do. So you don't actually have to know. You just need both a water bath canner and a pressure canner.
Yeah. And you can water bath in your pressure canner.
Let's stop. Oh, yes.
You can water bath.
With the top off. Yeah.
I don't want to get a water bather, but you can, but you're going to have some kind of a lid to put on that thing.
And like a little trivet. I mean, you can totally makeshift, but like, I just feel like when you're new to it, just having the right equipment makes it easier and kind of gives you that confidence. Like, okay, I am doing this right versus like makeshifting stuff. But you totally can do that. I'm not just trying to push products. Like,
oh, I know. I think I bought 2 more water bath canners this year just because I I wanted to have an outdoor section. So I got an outdoor, like a burner set that I could use outside because I make my own hot sauce. So I didn't even buy the water bath canner to water bath in. I bought it so that I had a pot specifically designated for my Carolina Reaper peppers because they're so hot that I didn't want to use anything else in that pot. And that might be over the top, but I did it on the porch this year. I brought it out. I was boiling the peppers. You couldn't walk in the vicinity of my porch for a good hour. The fumes were so intense.
Sure. Oh, that's crazy. Are they like super hot?
Yeah.
Oh, let's just say a big bowl of chili, 2 drops, and it was almost inedible. It was so hot.
Oh my gosh. I'm not a
so
spicy
bad.
lover, so that's crazy.
I love spice, but the Carolina Reaper, I think 1 drop and I would have been comfortable eating it. 2 drops and I had to, I was sweating. Sweating.
That is crazy.
Oh. So have you guys ventured into the world of freeze drying yet?
Yes.
Yeah, tell me about that. I got one last year. I've only used it a little bit. Tell me what you guys are using it for.
Okay, so one of my favorite things is actually leftovers. When I cook a lot in the week, and then I just have so many leftovers, and then I throw them in the freeze dryer, and then I have lunches later on down the road. But I will eat leftovers, but then I have too many, so I'm like, sweet, I'll save this, and then I just cook it up one day when I'm like, I really want fajitas, and then I just have fajitas for lunch. And then also buying in bulk eggs or cottage cheese and freeze drying that, and then I just have it because you go through those phases where you buy the big cottage cheese and then you never eat it and then it's moldy, but then you just need a little bit. So now I have a little bit when I need it, or the egg shortages that always seem to happen in January. I'm ready to go with eggs that are freeze dried. And
Yeah.
so those are my kind of things that I like to do.
And I like to freeze dry herbs.
Oh yes.
I love
herbs are
dried
great.
herbs.
I have not done herbs yet. I really want to. I've done blueberries, raspberries, bananas, and I did my eggs because I have 30 layers, and some I sell eggs at my shop, but some weeks I'll have a couple dozen eggs left over. So I know that they're slowing down in the wintertime. So a couple months ago, I was like, all right, I'm just going to freeze dry. I only have the small machine, so I did about a dozen on each layer. So I was able to do 4 dozen, and they're all vacuum sealed in a bag with an oxygen thing. So I'm excited to take advantage of those this winter while my chickens are being lazy.
Yes, our chickens are lazy right now too.
One thing I started doing last year was when we processed our chickens, we saved not everything, but we saved the gizzard, heart, liver.
Yeah.
And I freeze dried those for dog treats.
That's an amazing idea. My cat's favorite treat is little pieces of freeze-dried chicken. And I've been thinking to myself, I should try to do that, even if it's just the skins that I don't use or parts of the chicken that I don't use. Man, I should have done that with the turkey the other day from Thanksgiving. The little parts,
Yeah, you could have freeze-dried Thanksgiving dinner and had just pulled out for next year.
Yeah.
Man, I need to start setting alarms on my calendar for things. Freeze dry leftovers.
Yes. Yes.
We love that machine.
Yeah.
Love it.
I need to start using mine more because I'm just not. And everyone I know just uses it for candy, and I'm not interested in freeze drying candy. Although I kind of want to try a couple things like the ice cream bars that have been, I would want to try doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I heard that was delicious. But then I also heard that freeze drying things like your asparagus spears or zucchini slices are like little potato chips. Have you tried that?
Oh, I don't think we have.
The veggie crisps. Yeah, I might try that again next year. Yeah, very lightly salt because when you freeze dry stuff, you know how obviously any sort of salt that are in the product is going to make it so intense with salt, but a lightly salt or a little bit of ranch dressing on pickles. I heard that was really good too. There's too many possibilities.
We did pickles once and it was horrific.
Were they really salty?
Maybe, probably.
Yeah.
It just disintegrated in your mouth and it was
no. Gross. No, that's like a texture thing. It would be great. So was there anything that you've tried in your freeze dryer that didn't come out? Well, obviously the pickles and that stuff, but like leftovers that worked really well or didn't work well?
All of my leftovers have actually worked really well. One thing that didn't work, well, it didn't work because it was too much work and I'm kind of like a lazy freeze dryer. We did a bunch of the lamb, was it lamb broth?
Yeah, lamb broth.
Yeah, we made lamb bone broth and then we realized that you need to weigh it so that you can reconstitute it
That's when we were
the right way so that you're not just having water with like a little bit. And so I was like, okay, that was a waste of all of our broth, but we could have just canned and then just had liquid.
Yeah.
And then we didn't do the math. So now it's kind of wasted because we don't know how much water you need to reconstitute it to make it the broth.
So we'll just
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
frustrating.
to the dog.
So any of the things that need to be like super math and reconstituted, I don't care to do.
Yeah, that's why eggs are so easy because isn't it equal parts with eggs?
Yeah, I think it's like 2 tablespoons of eggs to 1 tablespoon of water or something.
Okay,
Or,
yeah.
it might be 2 to 2. I can't, 1 to 1. I'm not sure.
But it's pretty easy and it's easy to look up if you if you need it. So
And you just add more eggs if you add it.
exactly.
Yeah.
I will say
Now-
garlic was a fail.
Oh.
Oh, yes. We did whole garlic cloves and that was a fail, but we also learned we needed to mince it
Yeah.
and do it that way. And we haven't done that. So
It's smelly.
Yeah, and I think too that it might smell up your next batch of whatever you make.
yeah.
Banana flavored or garlic flavored bananas. Now, are there any books that you guys would recommend for canning beginners if people want to, dive deep into it?
Yes. Actually, 2 books. No, 1 book. 1 book. For you said freeze drying or canning?
Both. She said in-
Both.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
both.
So we've got
2 books then.
Mhm.
So the book for freeze drying, Carolyn from Homesteading Family, she wrote a book on freeze drying and how to do everything, how to reconstitute it. It's literally the freeze drying Bible.
Yeah.
The best resource.
how to clean it, everything.
Everything. If you want to freeze dry, like basically Harvest Right or whoever, we have the Harvest Right freeze dryer, they should sell her book with their products because it is so good.
I have watched many of her videos. She's amazing.
Yes. So that's our Bible. And then Melissa K. Norris has a book called Preserving the Harvest, and it's all about canning. And she does other preservation methods too, but her canning section is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh,
Those are
amazing.
The 2
Yeah,
Bibles.
that's a great book that she wrote.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, you guys offer a lot of classes too, both virtually, and I saw at one point you did some in-person classes too.
Yeah.
Talk about what that, what you guys get out of that. Like, is that like a real sense of, purpose and educating others? What do people learn in your classes?
Yeah, so we started, just sharing information a couple years ago, and there was just always a need for more knowledge. And you can only teach so much on social media. And even now, people scroll so fast that if you have to teach it in 3 seconds or they're gone. So basically, we were like, well, we need to provide information for more information for people. So we have an online course that has like all of your gardening from the very beginning all the way to the end, which is very helpful for those who like to learn kind of all at once. And then we also decided to break our course up into seasonal classes because we kind of realized new gardeners don't realize that in the fall, the work that you're doing for your soil in the fall is helping your spring. They're just thinking fall. So I had to kind of backtrack and be like, okay, what do they need to do right now? What's beneficial? So I broke everything up and made it into a seasonal class. Here's what you need to know for these 3 months to prep your garden, to do your garden. And so it's just super simple. So just everything you need to know for that season is what's being taught in those classes. And it's just, there's like 7 to 10 topics that we really dive into. And it's teaching those gardening foundations.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like
super important
in depth of like, what do you do with blossom end rot? It's not diving deep into those issues, because we've also realized when you have those good gardening foundations and you build healthy soil, you have less problems. And so that's where we're like foundations. So we do those all virtually.
Mm-hmm.
We just do live classes at the beginning of the quarter, and then you can watch the replay later if you couldn't catch the live class. But that's what we offer for those. Mm-hmm. And then our in-person classes we did was for chicken processing. We invited people out to come learn hands-on how to process chickens.
Now, do you guys, so it's the chickens, do you guys still have goats, you said?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you actually buying at the grocery store? Do you have, what are you buying?
Tortilla chips to go with my salsa. I did know you're making bread. I did learn how to make bread, but I still do buy Grandma Sycamores because my kids play. So.
I've gotten pretty good at making sourdough and making sandwich bread, but my son will always grab the cheap, the loaf of white bread from the store. I try not to get offended.
Yeah.
You can. But we just finished putting some pigs in the freezer, some lambs in the freezer. We bought a hamburger cow right before that.
I don't buy any meat from the store.
We don't buy any meat from the store.
Except maybe like a smoked sausage every once in a while.
Yeah, and right now we still have some vegetables in one of our greenhouses. We have lettuce, carrot. There's some cilantro in there.
Oh yeah,
cilantro, Swiss chard.
Yeah. So my kids eat carrots. Yeah,
that was going to be one of my questions was, what do you guys grow in the greenhouse? Do you change it up seasonally, or do you obviously you're not only using it in the springtime if you have stuff in it now? How do you utilize that for all seasons?
Yeah, so we try to plant for the fall. And so we start that around, mid-July. A lot of people think, when you're planting for the fall, you're thinking about that in June. Yeah. You're actually thinking about that in June. What you might need to start, because if you can get those starts, you got a head start in your bed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we did that with our broccoli and cauliflower, some Brussels sprouts, but those are all outside. Those are all harvested now. But we did put some lettuce and some more carrots and some cilantro. There's some Swiss chard in there. Just
a couple cool crops.
Cool crops.
Do you grow in the ground in the greenhouse, or do you guys grow in little beds in there?
Well, it's a little tiny raised bed.
Yeah.
In the ground, because...
Well, to me, in the ground is soil from the earth.
Yeah.
Where a raised bed is a bad
it's a raised
soil.
Bed. Yeah, it's raised.
But it's low to the ground.
Okay, yes. Yeah, because I have a hoop house at my farm that I grow directly into the ground in, and then obviously my greenhouses here at my garden center, I grow in pots. So so many different options for growing. Yes. In fact, when do you guys start seed for your spring? Like, what's the earliest seed you start?
Oh, well, for vegetables, probably tomatoes.
When is your last frost in the spring?
What do we start?
You start broccoli, cauliflower, and we get that all in.
I start all that.
Yeah.
I'm the planner.
I don't know.
That's right.
I am like, we need to write this down. We need to have it organized. And she's like, just I'm throwing it in. I'm like, no.
I think I need a Jordyn in my life.
Yeah. But we're starting in February this year because we never start in February. We always start in March or April. And then Kay's always like, dang it, I should have started in February. So I have made it a note that we're starting in February, but it's really coming fast and I'm kind of not excited about it.
I know. But here's one thing also you need to understand about me is that I've never started seeds in the past.
Oh yeah.
My mom was always like, I'm not doing that. It's too much work. And so we have a little garden center in town and it's very reasonable. There's nothing over $2 for a 6-pack. So, and you can get all your little starts there. So why not?
Well, and we have so much going on too, to like have to do all of that. It's kind of a pain in the butt.
Well, you're also setting yourself up for success instead of frustration in doing that.
Yeah.
But also starting seeds the last couple of years, it's been quite satisfying and gratifying. So I kind of like it.
Now she likes it. But we have to do it in February.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I love people who start seeds, but I also love the customers that come to my garden center and buy the 6-packs that I've been growing for them. So,
Yes.
so they're, a combination of both usually is I have, the customers who are buying my peppers and tomatoes in 6-packs are starting carrots from seed. So it's a combination usually for most gardeners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, are you guys looking forward to anything specific next season that you've never grown before? Or are you sticking with the tried and true ones that you guys love?
Well, to be tried and true, and we're looking forward to a new season in the garden because we're moving our garden.
Maybe.
We are. We're moving the garden.
We were supposed to move our garden last year.
And hopefully build another greenhouse. Where
Wow. So how far is this being moved? Like you guys aren't moving, like
just on the other side.
Moving.
Just on the other side of the tomato house.
Oh, so it's going to be a rebuild.
Yeah, it's kind of a rebuild. It's already excavated and and we're going to have irrigation because we water everything by hand. So I think that's what we're looking forward to,
Praise
Jordyn,
the Lord.
is that we're going to have irrigated garden beds. It's going to be so nice.
Actually,
it's going to be life-changing.
I don't mind watering the veggie garden. Kay does all like the watering, and then sometimes I have to go and do it, which is not a problem. It's her flower garden that she's got like 14,000 beds. And I'm just like, okay, the veggies take me 20 minutes. This thing takes me 4 hours. I listen to my entire book while I'm just gardening.
It does not.
It takes a full hour.
Well,
and that's a lot for me.
If you do everything, an hour.
It's a lot for me when I have 4 kids rambunctiously running at home. I finally get out there at like 11. She's like, I need to be watered by 8. I'm like, okay. 9:30, I finally get out there.
Tell me what you're growing in the flower garden, Kay. My ears are perked up.
Yes. So one year I said to my husband, well, do you know Deanna from Growing Kindness?
Yes.
Okay. So, this is, I don't know, 2018, maybe 2017. I can't remember when, but she was offering free dahlias. So we went down. She just lives an hour south of us. And so, we went down and I got it's the first time I grew a dahlia. My mom had one in the front yard, but I didn't know what it was. I love flowers. And so we started growing this dahlia and I thought, well, this is fun. And so the next year I got a few more and we kind of moved it down and I was looking at this space and I was like, oh, I can picture this cut garden right here. And so I told my husband, I said, I think I want a wall right here. And because it's sloped. And he goes, well, if I build a wall there, you're going to have to step into it. I said, I don't want to step in. I want to walk in. He goes, and I have to excavate it out and build a wall on the back. Oh, I don't know, and one day he comes home with a rented skid steer, and he's, excavating. And our youngest daughter was like, well, I want to get married in the backyard. And so we're just like, we scrambled to get that thing ready. But anyways, I have just 2 boxes of dahlias. It has little raised beds in it, and it's all some wooden beds and some epic gardening, metal beds. And it's just placed, I think, really curated beautifully.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Aw, great. I love that.
One little bed, like a cottage garden bed, and I've got the dahlia beds. I've got cosmos. I've got zinnias, ranunculus, anemones. So just things you can make a bouquet with. I don't grow everything. I can't, and I don't think I'd ever want to be a flower farmer because my niece.
A lot of work.
Yes, my niece was married, and I told her mom, well, I'll cut some flowers or whatever. And I was cutting those flowers and stripping the stems. I'm like, yeah, I don't think I could do this every day.
It is a lot of work. Yeah, for sure. It's overwhelming.
I don't have a cooler. That's another thing. We have a cooler that we want to put in. Yeah. So.
Like a cool bot?
Yeah, Coolbot. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a Coolbot, and it's crucial I think I put 6,000 tulips in the ground in October, and if I didn't have a cooler, I can't sell 6,000 at once. I need to sell them over the course of a month. Yeah. So, it's definitely game changing when you have cold crops. You could probably, you guys have your underground space.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we like it for just kind of maybe storing some vegetables in for the
some root crops.
And our apples.
Well, I'm so happy that you guys were able to hang out with me today.
Yeah, thanks
And
for
I'm
having
glad
us.
to finally meet you guys, not in person, but like, I
It
am
feels like
coming.
it's in person.
It does.
It does feel like it. I am coming to Seattle in February, so I don't know if you guys are close
For
to
the garden
Seattle.
show? For the garden
Yeah,
show?
I'm
Oh,
presenting. Yes.
Oh, are you really? We're
Yeah,
going
I'm
there.
we'll
doing.
go. We'd love to go.
We're doing a live episode of the podcast on the 22nd in front of on the main stage. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
That's awesome. Well, we'll be there. So.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, now I'm even more excited. Thank you again for joining us today. We'll have to have you back because I did notice on your website that you guys do some cover crops, and I'd like to dive deep on some cover crops in an episode. So we'll have to have you back.
That'd
Yes.
be great.
We love cover
We
crops.
love talking about cover crops.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Welcome back to In the Garden with Flower Hill Farm. And welcome back to producer Ramsey, who is joining me for this segment of Sow and Tell. Ramsey, how's your winter shaping up?
It's going okay here in Atlanta, Georgia. It's starting to get a little chilly, and instead of snow, we got cold rains and stuff like that. But I'm staying warm and staying happy and positive and going into the holiday season.
I love that. I'm doing okay. I'm staying warm, but I am considering buying a heated hose for my chickens because my chicken water keeps freezing here in the wintertime in upstate New York. But that's okay. That's okay. You know what I'm doing though? I'm dreaming about what I'll be growing in 2026 to preserve, which is what today's episode is all about. Now, have you ever preserved any foods? Have you made anything that, you put on the shelf for later use?
I've done cucumbers with pickling and stuff like that. And, I've made my own, pickled ginger and various things that I'll use in the kitchen. I like to have things on the ready whenever I'm cooking. So it's always good to have those extra jars laying around of,
Yes,
of
definitely.
things that are hard to find.
One of my daughter's favorite snacks are pickled onions. And my friend Susan and my mother-in-law, they make her pickled onions all the time. In fact, when we went to go visit her at college a couple weeks ago, her one request was, can you please bring 2 jars of pickled onions? So definitely love those. Okay. So today we are featuring some comments from viewers all about preservation from the garden. I asked on Instagram, what is your favorite thing to preserve from the garden? And we received quite a few messages. I'm going to start with one of them. So this one's from HQ726. She says, I love to preserve apples, applesauce, our plums into jam, pumpkins into puree, and other veggies into soups and veggie broth. My methods are water bath canning and freezing. Oh, and I also dehydrate herbs to use all year. I would really like to get into pressure canning since I have my grandfather's old canner, but I am intimidated. Thank you, HQ. Yes, pressure canning can be intimidating, but once you do it a couple times, you get the hang of it quickly. I do hope you give it a try. I only started pressure canning probably 5 or 6 years ago, but it really has increased what I'm able to preserve from the garden. So I do hope you give it a try. Ramsey, you have some comments to tell us about.
Yes, totally. I got my first one here from Melissa Kelly Bowen, and she says, I send fresh ginger through the juicer and squeeze the juice for cooking and dry the pulp for tea. That it sounds like an amazing thing to do with your ginger if you have some left over and you just need to use it on the ready and things like that. So I love that idea.
I do too. I've never thought about doing that because sometimes I'll have a lot of ginger and I'll let it dry out on the counter and it'll go to waste. And I think now Melissa's given me an idea for next season.
Yeah, what I'll do is if I go to the grocery store or the farmer's market and I get like lemongrass and things like that I use a lot in my Southeast Asian food that I make, I'll just chop it up, and so I'll just have it ready to go whenever I need it and all that. So I love where your head is, Melissa.
You're going to have to send me some of those recipes, Ramsey.
Will do. Will do. Awesome. And then now let's see, we're moving to the next one here. This was from Yellow Door Flower Farm. And they say, this was my first year dehydrating herbs from my garden using a dehydrator, and I will definitely be doing that again next year. I am loving it. I've never dehydrated anything as far as vegetables or anything like that. I've done beef jerky and things like that, but never any vegetables. So have you?
I actually have. I tend to grow too many herbs, which is never a bad thing because you can preserve them and you just throw them in the dehydrator. You have to make sure you wash them and then dry them, because if you put them in the dehydrator wet, they're going to take forever to dry out. But if you wash them, dry them, put them in the dehydrator, and they get nice and crispy, make sure all the moisture is out, and then you just keep it in an airtight container. I use a mason jar, and then I use one of those, I can't remember what they're called, but you put them over the top of the mason jar and they vacuum. Well, it's called a vacuum sealer. They vacuum all of the air out so that it's airtight. Or you can use one of those little baggies that you vacuum seal as well for your herbs. And I like to give herbs away as Christmas gifts too. That's something that I don't know. I love homemade or homegrown gifts. So probably herbs in the dehydrator is one of the, I guess, gateway into food preservation. It's one of the easiest things to do.
That's so good to hear. Mm-hmm. And I need to get on your Christmas list next year, maybe.
I will. No problem.
Okay. Here's one from Christine Nelson, and they messaged us about there's nothing like popping open a jar of tomato sauce preserved at peak ripeness in the middle of winter. My absolute favorite. I do also love to pickle a mixture of sweet banana peppers and sugar rush peach peppers and put them on a pizza all year round. So good. That was a lot of P words there for me, but I made it through it.
I have never pickled peach peppers, but probably will. Shoot, I was missing that final P word. Actually, one of my favorite things to do for years before my grandfather passed away, we would get together as a family, a bunch of my cousins, my mom, and we would get hot cherry peppers and we would pickle them using my grandfather's method. And we would probably do between 50 and 60 quarts, and we would just split them up and everyone would take some and we would leave. And I actually can't bring myself to open the last jar that we made before he passed away. So that is on my shelf for eternity, but we still are maintaining the tradition and pickling peppers as a family as often as we can. So pickled peppers are amazing in salads, on tacos, taco salad. And then my favorite thing to use them is on pizza. So good with a little garlic salt and like thinly sliced pickled peppers on top of a just cheese pizza. Oh, I think that might be on the menu tonight.
I was going to say, you got me hungry over here. So
I know, it is lunchtime for us.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, That's all I got. I think you got a couple more.
I do. I have Jan from Central Iowa, Zone 5, says, I picked a bunch of green... I was going to say I picked a bunch of pickled peppers, but that's not what she said. She said, I picked a bunch of green tomatoes off the vine in early November before frost, and she put them in a paper bag with a single banana. And they slowly ripened 3 or 4 at a time. I would change out the banana as needed, and that process continued for weeks. It's almost Christmas, and I have fresh, homegrown red tomatoes on my counter right now, and 10 inches of snow in the garden. She says, yuck. I love that you found a way, Jan, to lengthen your harvest by harvesting those green tomatoes. And the paper bag trick, I might have to give it a try next year. And then I have the last one here from Mala. Mala says, I dry straw flowers, statice, gomphrena, etc., and use them to make Christmas ornaments. I also dry herbs for cooking and Christmas wreath sage. That's interesting. Mala also tells me good luck with my surgery. In this comment, I am having surgery this week, but by the time you guys are listening to this episode, I should be well on my way to recovery. So thank you for all of those well wishes. So I wanted to feature Mala's comment because preservation from the garden doesn't have to necessarily mean food. You can dehydrate those flowers just by hanging them upside down. And you can use them to make wreaths. You can use them, a lot of people, like say, Ramsey, I was going to gift you a jar of dehydrated parsley. I could decorate the top of that canning jar with some dried flowers and make it extra special. So many ideas. I'd love to hear from even more of you. Share your stories of garden inspiration with me by sending a video or audio clip to Nicole at botanicalinterests.com, and your message could be featured here on the podcast. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and thank you, Ramsey, for joining us for this segment. I'm your host, Nicole Pitt, and you can find more of my garden adventures over on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at Flower Hill Farm. And of course, all the seeds and garden goodies we talked about are waiting for you at botanicalinterests.com. Or check your favorite local garden center to see if they carry botanical interests, like we do here at the Boone Street Nursery. Save 5% off your order by using the code In the Garden. Want to see what we're talking about? Subscribe to Botanical Interests YouTube channel for the video version. We will see you next time in the garden. I'll meet you there.